Right now on News 410, digging out from the latest punch from Old Man Winter. Some areas are not out of the woods just yet.
As power crews head out and try to get everything restored. Pretty quiet conditions out there tonight, but we do have a few little limited pockets of snow. Latest on that in the weekend next.
And protecting your heart when you're shoveling all that snow. The warning from doctors tonight and how you can stay safe.
Live in high definition, this is Western New York's news leader. Now, News 4 at 10.
Anybody who's lived in Buffalo as long as I have knows that it's not over till it's over.
Well put. Old Man Winter threw a curveball to many people in Western New York. Good evening, everyone. Many guys and girls are still digging out after getting slammed with more than a foot of snow in some parts. And viewers have been sending in some great pictures of the snow in their backyard. Look at this. Arlene sent us this picture from West Seneca. You can see the trees are leaning over. They're completely covered in snow. And Amy said, as this snowy scene from Fredonia looked like a winter wonderland. But some people are still in the dark tonight. Right now, more than 4,000 NYSE customers are without power, and more than 12,000 National Grid customers are still in the dark. Salamanca is one of the hardest hit areas. The city was without power for much of the day. An emergency shelter has been set up at the high school because of all the power out tonight. Right now, emergency crews are working to restore that power. They expect to have it back on at any moment. People were dealing with the snow throughout the weekend, but the worst of it is over. Big question for Todd is, when are we going to sound the all clear of this snow, Todd?
Well, the official all clear, I mean, we could sound it for Buffalo and a number of other areas, especially across our western counties. But you'll see on the radar in a moment, there are still some very limited pockets of very light snow on the outer edges of the system, which is still impacting portions of southeastern New England and the northeast. But, you know, it's not going to do much. I mean, tonight, very dusting type minor coatings. There's a shot out of Elma earlier. It's kind of wild how we really did hit the reset button on winter across all of western New York. Here's what I mean about what's left of it. So in general, as far as the shoveling heavy snow and trying to clear 10+ inches and that sort of thing, yeah, we can sound the all clear with that, especially if you've already cleared your sidewalk or your front steps, that kind of thing. But you notice that we're kind of split in half here, and I'll zoom in a moment, but the western edge of our viewing area, especially, say, southwestern Erie County, all of Chautauqua County, mostly under clear skies, that will allow your temperatures to fall a bit lower than the rest of us. Off to the east, you're still kind of hanging onto the clouds and some of these very limited snow showers. They look kind of strange on here, just the way this is oriented. It's basically a trough left over from the system as it rolled by. And really the business end of this system is all the way closer toward the Atlantic coast. So what we're finding here is some, let's say, spectator level snow. There may be some dustings across our eastern counties into the early morning, but that's really about it. Part of it has to do with the fact, too, that it's also quite a bit colder. You know, temperatures are heading down into the 20s for all areas overnight tonight. So you're not going to add these heavy slushy coatings. You might add a little dusting of kind of a light, fluffier powder. Winds out of the northwest. I talked about this earlier, but if you missed our 4, 5, or 6 o'clock shows, the breeze doesn't really completely die down tonight, but you see that 6 mile per hour reading in Dunkirk. Numbers like that in areas that are, say, sheltered from the breeze altogether have the best chance of getting into the lower 20s tonight. Right now it's 31 in Buffalo at the airport. Northwest at 16 feels more like temperatures in the 20s. And there's a look at the wider view of things. So some of these interior areas, and especially down to the south and west where you're already starting to see some bigger breaks in the cloud cover, you have a better chance of ending up with temperatures at the lower end of this range. The rest of us, I mean, we're all getting into the 20s, so any way you slice it, it's going to be cool to start off tomorrow morning. Latest forecast for the Shamrock Run and the rest of the weekend, as well as next week coming up. Don?
Thank you, Todd. In the city, it was all hands on deck as the plows were out all day clearing out the snow. And Mayor Byron Brown says nearly a foot of snow fell in the Queen City overnight, shattering the city's previous record for this date in March.
What I always tell patients is to listen to your body.
Well, this heavy snow can be a pain, literally. Doctors say they're seeing more and more people in the emergency rooms now, especially at ECMC, due to back injuries and head injuries. And shoveling this snow can cause even more health issues. News 4's Shannon Smith talked with some doctors tonight. She's here right now live in the studio with some Very good medical advice. Shannon?
That's right, Don. The emergency room at ECMC has been slammed this winter with the flu, people with pneumonia, and even with asthma. But doctors tell me this heavy snow can bring out health problems that some people may not even know about. With so much snow covering driveways and sidewalks across western New York Friday, Dr. Samuel Cloud says it's bringing more people to the emergency room at ECMC.
From the sliding and falling, we see a lot of fractures, back injuries, head injuries, people sliding down their icy steps.
This heavy snow is not only a pain to drive or walk in, but an even bigger pain to shovel, literally.
I also, of course, see people who develop chest pain with snow shoveling.
Dr. Cloud says shoveling can unveil health issues most people may not even know they have.
Snow shoveling can unmask cardiac disease and can cause heart attacks. And so what I always tell patients is to listen to your body.
According to cardiologist John Canty Jr. at the University at Buffalo, snow shoveling can be more strenuous than exercising on a treadmill. He says in a statement, it's straining on the heart because it's sudden stress and is done in the cold. A person's blood pressure and heart rate can increase more than other forms of physical activity. Canty says the risk of someone suffering a heart attack is low, but Dr. Cloud says it's higher in people with existing health issues.
But if you're somebody that's not used to exercising, doesn't really push your body physically, or if you're somebody that has diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, you really want to be careful and listen to your body.
Doctors say if you're going to shovel snow, dress warmly, stay hydrated, and avoid eating meals before going right out to shovel or snowplow.
If you have somebody that can shovel for you, if you have children or a neighbor, then we're the city of good neighbors, so I would lean on them.
Now, doctors say it's important for everyone to pay attention to any new or unusual symptoms while shoveling, such as chest pain or severe shortness of breath. Now, so far tonight, AMR Ambulance tells me they haven't had any cardiac emergency calls related to snow shoveling. In the studio, Shannon Smith, News 4 at 10.
Thank you, Shannon. You can get the latest forecast anytime you want. Just download the Forewarn Weather app. It has hourly forecasts that you can customize for your neighborhood. And, of course, the live Forewarn Doppler radar. It's free for your phone or tablet. Shining a light on a controversial issue, how a playwright is opening up dialogue now about school shootings.
Captioning of News 4 is sponsored by Jeffrey Friedman Attorneys.
This is where more Western New Yorkers turn for news, weather, and the important stories that matter to you. With the team you trust at a time that's right for you. We are News 4, and we're for Buffalo.
It's the final week of the President's Day sale at Value City Furniture. Last chance for 10% off store-wide plus 20% off mattresses. No minimum purchase required. Or enjoy 36-month special financing or our 120-day same-as cash payment option. Only at Value City Furniture.
One of the most important things we do in Scouts is we give them confidence. We try to give them activities that are at their level, that they can master. We encourage them, and as their skills increase, their confidence grows. And a big part of Scouting is respect, what it means to respect each other's feelings and each other's space, and I think it helps them to work as a team. And I really believe in Scouting. It changed my life, and it's very important to me to give that back to the next generation of Scouts.
Carpet Factory Outlet has been Western New York's premier carpet and flooring store since 1970. You'll find carpet, remnants, area rugs, wood, laminate, and vinyl flooring in stock and at warehouse direct pricing. How are our prices so low? Simple. We search all over the country for the best flooring deals at the lowest prices. With our buying power, we can buy in bulk and pass the savings directly to you. Come in today for Home Show special pricing going on now. Carpet Factory Outlet. More stores, more floors.
There is a difference when you shop at Blum Swimwear and Intimate Apparel, featuring swimwear to slim and trim your figure. This is Contours, bra-size swimwear with patented dual-layer construction that smooths your curves and lifts your bottom to accentuate your figure. One piece is in classic black and white. Beach House regular and plus size offers a variety of versatile tankinis, briefs, shorts, and skirts. Tops are great with mesh layering, ruffles, and the prints are both bright and beautiful. Come visit us at Blum's and get professionally fit. Main Street, Williamsville. Don't forget, look for the daisies.
At Riverfront Auto Sales, our family's been helping people find the car they need for 4 generations. And we're proud now to introduce our newest member, Noah. So if you get a chance, come on down to Riverfront Auto Sales and view over 100 cars at any given time.
Good credit, bad credit, no problem. Here at Riverfront Auto Sales, we have 100% guaranteed credit approval.
What do you think about this application, guys?
Everybody gets approved, Papa.
Great. Come on down and get your approval at Riverfront Auto Sales today.
Wow!
It's the final week of the President's Day mattress sale.
A playwright is tackling the issue of school shootings. Auditions for the A School Shooting Act 1 were held in downtown Buffalo. It was written 11 years ago and inspired by the mass shooting at Virginia Tech back in 2007. The director says, in light of the recent shootings in Florida, he wants this production to be a safe space for people to come together, find their voices, and work towards a better tomorrow.
I think the most important thing it brings is that talk back with the community. It's presenting a very ugly event and then giving space for the community to come together and talk about it, and especially students.
And you can catch the play at Shea's Smith Theater starting April 12th to the 15th. Well, still to come at 10, saluting a war hero, how Western New Yorkers are honoring the life and the legacy of General Pulaski. Todd?
If you haven't had enough of the snow yet, we still have at least some on the radar. All right, it's not going to add up to very much tonight. We'll have a look into the weekend and what you can expect next week with a few more chances for some flakes in the forecast coming up next here. News 4 at 10.
Did you get home late and miss all the local news? Well, not anymore, because now News 4 is bringing you even more local news.
Our goal is to bring you the news at a time that's convenient for you.
We'll be here to bring you the stories that matter to you.
Watch Dave Graber, Christy Kern, weather with Kaylee Webb and Andrew Baglini, and sports with Josh Reed.
Even if you get home late, you won't miss a thing.
Watch News 4 at 6:30 on CW23. It's local when everyone else isn't. See it, shoot it, and send it to WIVB.com with Reported, sponsored by Mattress Firm.
It's the big price drop at Mattress Firm. For the first time ever, get a king for the price of a queen and a queen for the price of a twin. Your budget stretches further at Mattress Firm.
Think you can beat our brackets? Go ahead and give it a shot. Go to WIVB.com under contest to see how you can win some great prizes like a 4K smart TV.
Sponsored by Dirt Cheap TV and Linex of Western New York.
Hurt in a car? Call William Attar. We understand it takes serious focus to handle serious injury cases. That's why motor vehicle accidents are what we do. Our immediate response team can start collecting and protecting crash site evidence right away. In the office and in the field, fighting for you. Put your trust in the firm of the focus, firm of the fours. Hurt in a car? Call William Attar. 444-4444.
It's time to get to Bounce Magic. If you haven't been to Bounce Magic lately, you're missing out. New attractions, new bounce houses, new activities, new ways to have fun. Don't wait. Get the kids to Bounce Magic today. McKinley Parkway, Hamburg, Maple Road, Amherst. Spring is here. Is your home darling yet? Pick up
From Akron to Orchard Park, covering all of Western New York, this is News 4. We're for Buffalo.
Western New Yorkers came together to honor the life and the legacy of a war hero tonight. The General Pulaski Association held this wreath-laying ceremony at General Pulaski's statue in downtown Buffalo. The Polish native fought alongside our troops during the Revolutionary War.
This truly is a freedom fighter, someone who helped found this country by giving his own life. So I think he's a leader not only for the Polish-American community to celebrate, but for all of us in America to celebrate. And a reminder as well, this country was founded, even back then, by a diverse population.
The Pulaski Day Parade is July 22nd, and the Secretary of State of Poland, Anna Marie Anders, will be the guest of honor, and I'm honored to be the Master of Ceremonies. Well, it was all about celebrating those who go above and beyond to put their community first. Tonight, the 100 Club of Buffalo hosted its 60th annual Hero Awards. The event highlights law enforcement and people in our community who risk their lives every day to protect others. Officer Craig Leonard and his family were among the honorees tonight, and News 4's Jen Shantz emceed the event. Well, it looks like some people in Western New York are making the most out of the snow. Look at this. Braden, he spent his day building that huge snowman, and you can see it's nearly twice his size. And Carol from Buffalo sent us this picture of her friend taking a dive in the snow before heading to work. I hope that person didn't have a big job where they had to get all dressed up, Todd. You know what I mean?
It looked like he was swimming. Yeah, I know. True. I don't think I'd be doing that on the way to work wearing a suit. But I'm glad for all the shots and people having fun in this. You know, it is tough, and it's a totally different story as we end up with trees down and all sorts of other things. But I know a lot of the kids had fun. We had some great shots coming in from that. We'll continue to share many of your photos and appreciate all of you helping us kind of tell the story depending on where you were during this. And this shot came in from Crystal in Belfast. That's a really large tree. She actually said as this got loaded up, it actually was one of those fork-shaped trees that split in half. And it's a really substantial looking tree. They also were reporting about 18 inches worth of snow at her location. I've seen a lot of numbers through Allegheny County, closer to the 10-inch number. So yeah, some decent coatings. The thing across especially Allegheny County, there were some areas, especially in the northern half of the county, that switched over to snow really quickly yesterday and then stayed snow. So some areas, you know, this all started as rain. Yeah, it just stuck to the trees, stuck to everything really efficiently, and that's how we ended up with all these power outages. As far as the Shamrock Run's concerned, so this timing actually works out well, because if this were, say, the snow were falling tonight into tomorrow morning, it'd be a whole different story trying to run this race. Don't think you'll see any issues in the Old First Ward, but the race kicks off at noon, or I should say starts at noon. I put the times, usually the temperatures usually just before that because everyone's staging out there. You'll find temperatures in the 30s, but with increasing sunshine as the day goes on, it should actually be pretty nice. And if the trend continues that we've seen for Chautauqua County, you may actually have even less cloud cover than what kind of depicting here. Really, we're kind of on the edge, and you'll see in the radar in a moment. Low 20s for wind chills. That's one thing to keep in mind. The system along the East Coast, the core of that low is over 600 miles from Buffalo, and it is still, this thing's just a beast. It's influencing our weather still, and you can still see the general wind flow across the west into the eastern lakes, that northwest wind. The good news for us, especially for those without power, is that there isn't super cold air up here to get drawn in. I mean, it's 31 in Buffalo. By this time of the year standards, that's not all that bad. Sometimes you feel lucky to get that for a daytime high. Looking at it, there's the edge of the cloud cover. So Chautauqua County, much of it out of that. What's left of this system, you know, snowfall-wise, we're not even going to find that much more in areas where, at least in eastern New York, where it has looked a little bit better over the last hour or so. There have been a few of these pieces near the Thousand Islands that could have been even upwards of 1 inch per hour snow. The outer edge where we are, you're talking dusting type coating. So we had a few of those little brief dustings up towards, say, Orleans County. There's Allegheny County right now. So a couple little pockets here and there. They're not focused, they're not long-lived, and they're not all that heavy. So I think just the fact that they're very transient, kind of here and there, you get a little patch and then it goes away, that's what's going to lead to not very much of anything. I mean, you know, especially because this is also the light and fluffy stuff. There's the early morning tomorrow. Still could, especially just to our east, find a few flickers of that light snow. It's not out of the question for a flurry earlier in the day. I don't think we're going to see very much, though. And then we get into Sunday, start to clear the clouds out. Early next week, we're quiet for Monday, and then we hit Tuesday. And that really is just the timing of our next system on Tuesday is running into some colder air in the morning, and then we start to see temperatures warming up, and we're likely to start switching back over to rain. At the moment, that doesn't look like a great chance for any big accumulation, but it's one piece we'll watch because the timing will matter. If it comes a little earlier in the morning, you have a better chance for snow coatings before some of that switches over. There's that breeze out of the northwest that likely won't shut down overnight tonight. A lot of areas remaining in the teen mile per hour range. So you pair that with these temperatures, these are our current numbers, and at least for a few areas, that really stands out as what it does to the wind chills. You see those teens, and we're likely to find more of those into early tomorrow morning, especially as places like Buffalo drop down into the 20s. So that's our overnight forecast. Minimal coatings, even for our eastern counties. I mean, you may have to dust off the car in the morning. That's about it. Temperatures tomorrow into the 30s and above freezing for most areas. 7-day forecast shows this mostly quiet weekend. Next week, tail end of the week, we will have a few opportunities for some rain snow mixes. We'll certainly keep an eye on it, but notice all the daytime highs expected to be above freezing. Don?
Up next in sports, the Sabres are on the road in Florida tonight. Could they continue their successful away from the KeyBank Center? Not. Highlights, though, are coming up next.
Weather is sponsored by the Vinyl Outlet. Spring sale is on now.
After a truck hit me, Selena & Barnes got me $5 million. 5 times more than the insurance company offered.
They got me $2 million, 40 times more than insurance offered.
I'm Ross Salino. Is your case worth more than the insurance company says? Call us. You might be surprised.
They figured out that my job accident was worth over $1 million, 35 times what insurance said.
What's your case really worth?
Call us now and find out.
Call 888-8888.
When a student excels in the classroom and in athletic competition, we call them a Scholar Athlete. I'm Josh Reed, News 4 Sports, and once again, News 4 is proud to recognize Scholar Athletes. Tell us who you think deserves this honor. Nomination forms are available at schools and on WIVB.com. Each month on News 4 at 5, we'll bring the story of 2 outstanding Scholar Athletes. Winners will be nominated for one of 2 $1,500 scholarships.
Sponsored by Transit Town.
Trust Transit Town.
You ready, babe?
Yep.
How do you become America's best-selling brand? You help get the morning started.
Alexa, tell Starbucks to start my usual order.
Nice. And keep it running smoothly.
Whoa, where'd he come from? Still need that coffee? More than ever.
That's Ford, and that's how you become America's best-selling brand.
Now get into an edge with absolutely no down payment for as little as $3.15 a month. Just $3.15 a month with 0 down.
When you need results from your accident or injury case, call the Lawyers Call to help with their most difficult cases.
Call the Donahue Law Offices at 693-7070.
We'll fight for your rights to recover the money you deserve.
For years, our team of attorneys have battled behind the scenes, recovering millions for people like you. So call us directly at 693-7070.
After all, if we're good enough for them,
imagine what we can do for you.
Call the Lawyers.
News 4 continues with the latest in sports.
Well, there's been no place like home for the Sabres lately. They're 6-1-1 on the road in the past 8 games. Tonight, they were visiting the Panthers. There was no Evan Rodriguez in the lineup as he's got an upper body injury. But Kyle Oposo was back in action after welcoming a baby girl earlier this week. Sabres down 1-0 in the first. Ryan O'Reilly to Sam Reinhart, finishing it off, ties it up at 1. But it was all downhill from there. The Panthers scored 3 unanswered on Robin Leonard. They built a 4-1 lead, and they win it by that count. Sabres host the Leafs on Monday. Tomorrow in Indianapolis, the quarterbacks will take the stage in drills, and the Bills brass will certainly be watching as Buffalo could trade up for a signal caller. One of those could be UCLA's Josh Rosen.
I think I'm the best quarterback here. I think I can diagnose defenses and put the ball where it needs to be and make quick decisions. And I think we're all competitors, and I think every other quarterback should have the same exact belief that I do.
Rosen says his best attribute is making quick and decisive decisions. He also has been working on accuracy since he was born.
I mean, my parents always said that coming into my crib room was always dangerous because bottles would come flying out of nowhere. But I mean, I've kind of always had an arm of some sort. I mean, pitching in baseball, tennis, football. I mean, that's just kind of a lucky ability I was blessed with.
Rosen's personality and leadership has been scrutinized a lot leading up to the draft. Here's what he had to say to those critics.
I'm not really a big rah-rah guy, and if I tried to be, I think my teammates would see through it. So it's not about me, it's about the team. So anything that I can do as a leader to make the team better, I'm going to do, and I'm going to do that on a person-by-person basis because that's where I think it all starts is with the relationships.
So that was Josh Reed from the Combine. He's going to have more on Baker Mayfield, who's a very top favorite quarterback, coming up at 10:30.
I'm glad you're talking about quarterbacks and not the Sabres too much.
Yeah, let's end on a good note.
All right, the lottery numbers are next, thinking about being lucky. But first, the moment you've been waiting for. Here's the 10 o'clock tidbit.
This is where more Western New Yorkers turn for news, weather, and the important stories that matter to you. With the team you trust at a time that's right for you. We are News 4, and we're for Buffalo.
Visit the Western New York Sport and Travel Expo at the Hamburg Fairgrounds March 8th through 11th.
Every single week, the other guys run their big sales. And if it happens to be a holiday weekend, it's the biggest sale they've ever run. How do you know who to believe? Don't believe any of them. You won't hear this from the other guys, but shop around. Do your homework. But whatever you do, don't let them get your money until you come and see us, because we're going to be 1/3 to 1/2 whatever supposed sale price they're running. Very simply put, we sell mattresses for less, a lot less.
When the weather turns bad, turn to News 4 for school closings. On air.
More than 800 Catholic teens are in downtown Buffalo for a 3-day convention. It's the 66th Annual Diocesan Youth Convention, and it's celebrating Catholic tradition. This event brings teenagers and young adults together for prayer and fellowship and worship. This year's theme is True Story.
Amazing about the convention is the reaction that young people have when they arrive. And the biggest reaction that they tell me they have is that they realize they're not alone. That they walk in and they see hundreds of other Catholic teens who share the same faith as them, share some of the same moral beliefs, and they have so much in common with. They didn't know that there were that many Catholic teens in Buffalo. Truthfully, there's many, many more than just those who are here this weekend.
And the convention runs through Sunday. Straight ahead at 10:30, the long arm of this winter storm. Parts of the East Coast still dealing with the latest punch from winter. Plus, a guilty plea. A former state senator gets a legal slap on the wrist for his corruption charges.
A chemical operator at Hooker Chemical, a millwright at Ashland Oil, pipe fitter at Niagara Mohawk, diagnosed with lung cancer or mesothelioma. If you are a former industrial worker, perhaps this is your story, or that of a family member, friend, or neighbor. At Lipsitz and Ontario, these are the men and women we represent every day, and like you, we know their stories. If you're suffering from mesothelioma or lung cancer, call us.
Lipsitz and Ontario, 849-0701.
Tim Hortons freshly brewed coffee pairs perfectly with a bagel sandwich. And now you can get 2 bagel sandwiches with savory sausage, egg, and cheese for just $4, or 2 English muffins, or 1 of each. Get the 2 for $4 deal today. Great quality at a great value, only at Tim Hortons.
When I first walked into Empire Beauty School, I was excited. As soon as I came here, I took a tour, and I said, you know what, sign me up.
What I love about Empire is that you get to learn a little bit of everything.
From hair to skin to nails to makeup.
I feel very confident now. I feel like I could do anything.
This is amazing. Like, this is where I belong.
I just knew I wanted to be here.
You belong here.
You belong here.
You belong here.
If beauty is your calling, you belong at Empire Beauty School. Classes starting now. Visit empire.edu.
Wake up and start your day with a trip to Bounce Magic Mini Bounce Time. Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 11 a.m. for only $8 per child. Come try the new toddler-only area with more things for your little ones to play on. Get to Bounce Magic today. Hamburg and Amherst. Dirt Cheap TV, 1600 Niagara Falls Boulevard. Dirt Cheap TV, we dig up the very best deals. Sharp 43-inch Smart TV, $249. Vizio 65-inch 4K Smart TV, $599. Dirt Cheap TV on the boulevard across from Trader Joe's. Dirt Cheap TV, 1600 Niagara Falls Boulevard. Dirt Cheap TV, we dig up the very best deals. Sharp 43-inch.
Well, the widespread snow all across Western New York created some beautiful sights. Just take a look at this. Carol sent us this picture from Grand Island. Doesn't that look like a winter wonderland? And Sarah Lewis sent us this picture. It shows a fiery sunset on the lake in Centerville. Now, the most beautiful sight I saw today, Todd, was the snow truck, the snowplow.
The snowplow coming down your street. I know it.
Hello.
That of the sunshine. The sun, right before or during our 5 o'clock show, at least here, the sun emerged over at least North Buffalo, and it was nice to see it. One more beautiful sight for you if you're a skier or snowboarder and you're hoping to get out this weekend. If you saw this camera 2 days ago or 3 days ago, I'm sorry, Holiday Valley, but it looked abysmal, and it's not your fault. It's just we had a thaw. In this case, though, they were reporting 16 inches as of this morning, and while it's not the light, fluffy powder that a lot of skiers love, this is going to help set a really nice base. So get out there this weekend and enjoy it. You know they'll groom it nice and perfect corduroy tomorrow morning. There's a look at satellite and radar. You can at least see the edge of the clouds across western New York. We do have some breaks showing up, but you see how close some of that snow is. What is getting to us is very limited light stuff. I mean, it's on the order of flurries. I mean, I can call some of them a snow shower, like what was just over there in Rochester in that shot, or a shift south a little bit. You see a few of these across Allegheny County. They're not lining up over the same areas. It's really just a window for some very limited light snow, and you're mainly going to find a dusting here and there across our eastern counties into tomorrow morning. Breeze out of the northwest. This kind of sets it up for just cool temperatures. I mean, it puts a little bit of a wind chill in the air, but it, at least for most areas, helps keep the atmosphere mixed. Now, if you're sheltered from this breeze out of the northwest, you have a better chance, especially in Chautauqua County, of seeing cooler numbers. You know, places like Chautauqua, Mayville, Bemis Point, where the clouds have been clearing out. Again, if you're blocked from that breeze out of the northwest, you have a better chance of ending up with temperatures down in the low 20s. Jamestown at the airport still not reporting, but for what it's worth, nearby seeing a lot of areas where it feels more like the lower teens. We will find those low teen wind chills for most areas into early tomorrow morning. Temperatures starting off in the 20s. We should be able to top off just above freezing for all areas tomorrow. And with more sunshine, that should again get some more melting going on during the day. And this time of year with the sun angle, even if you can just break through most of the stuff on the surface and you can see a little bit of pavement through it, that really steps up the melting potential. I mean, you know, and as we get even later in the season, it gets even easier with that sun angle. So the weekend in general, quiet. Get into Tuesday. That's our next chance for a few snow showers early in the morning. I do think they'll start to switch over to rain as temperatures warm up. I mean, you see mild daytime highs from Tuesday right in through Wednesday and Thursday, but we will have a couple separate chances where the timing is everything to determine whether snow versus rain. And I do think we'll see a bunch of on and off chances. None of those look anywhere close to the impact that we just had into this morning. So for what it's worth, we'll keep a close eye on it for you. And, well, you have the weekend to rest and recover for some serious heavy lifting earlier today. Don?
Thank you, Todd. And a Western New York business owner is devastated tonight. She says the snow destroyed her property and put her animals in danger. Rosemary Miner owns the Waterfowl Sanctuary in West Philly. It's home to 700 birds. Miner says the heavy snow collapsed some of the trees and tore down a protective net that the birds were enclosed in. It also damaged the fence on the property. And Miner says some of the birds did get away, but she was able to make some repairs. But she will need to buy a new net and replace the fence.
Everything was starting to come down. It was just, we didn't know what to do unless we would have been killed. Like having your house fall apart on top of you. Except this is a home for 700 birds, and now they really don't have any place to go.
Well, Miner and her husband are now welcoming any volunteers to help them clean up. They're especially looking for people who have chainsaws to cut down the fallen trees. And you can check the forecast whenever you're on the go. Just look for the Forewarn weather app. It has the live Doppler radar and weather updates anytime, anywhere. And, of course, it's free for any mobile device. Now, this powerful storm is now shattering the East Coast with a mix of rain and snow. The National Weather Service is calling it a life-and-death situation for people living along the shore. Chris Van Cleve has more.
The wind howled and water kept rising along the Massachusetts coast Friday. Some residents were rescued by boat and even construction vehicles. A National Guard truck helped Denise Kress, her husband, and their 17-year-old cat, Sweetheart, evacuate their home in Winthrop near Boston.
The tide's going to be higher tonight, and then there's another high tide tomorrow, and I think that this time it could come up onto the first floor.
This is the second time their house has flooded this year. In the last nor'easter in January, 40 pipes burst, and they lost appliances and cars.
Can you believe this is happening again?
No. No. I've been here since 1990, and we've had some, water, but never like this.
The situation is not expected to get any better as the tide rises. In fact, the fire chief here in Winthrop is telling homeowners that live along the ocean here to evacuate before high tide.
Tonight could be life-threatening.
The storm toppled utility poles and trees from Washington to New York to New England, some on top of cars and homes.
Look at the side of the house. That's an old lady over there, too. She's home, but she's okay.
Crowds waited at New York's Penn Station as Amtrak and many commuter trains to New Jersey stopped running. Thousands of flights were also canceled. A meteorologist with the National Weather Service is calling this a storm we will never forget. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Winthrop, Massachusetts.
And back here, a former state senator won't spend any time behind bars, but he was slapped with a legal fine. George Maziarz pleaded guilty today to a misdemeanor in his corruption case. News 4's Al Vaughters tells us now what he admitted to and how much he'll have to pay.
At the height of his popularity, former state senator George Maziarz was the Niagara County Republican Party personified. Anything you needed done in his district, or in Niagara County for that matter, had to go through Maziarz, whether you were Republican or Democrat. When Maziarz suddenly retired in 2014, his war chest was still in the seven-figure range, and folks suspected something was up. Last March, an Albany County grand jury indicted Maziarz on 5 felony counts of filing false campaign expense reports. Those felonies were reduced to a single misdemeanor of offering a false instrument for filing.
It does not absolve him of liability. He committed a crime. He admitted now to committing all of the elements of the offense. And so now he is a convicted criminal, but he's not a convicted felon, and he avoided jail time, he avoided probation.
Attorney General Eric Schneiderman prosecuted Maziarz's case and released a written statement saying in part, "This case stands for a very simple but important principle, which is you cannot use your campaign account as a slush fund to avoid public scrutiny." News 4 legal analyst Barry Covert told us the misdemeanor plea benefited both sides, a conviction for the Attorney General, and Maziarz had to admit he broke the law.
Does he have a certain taint or a cloud because he's admitted to intentionally filing a false instrument? Yes, he does. But from a defense lawyer's point of view, they did a fantastic job of reducing the offense and limiting his exposure.
Now, an Albany County judge sentenced Maziarz to a $1,000 fine with no jail time or probation. The North Tonawanda Republican still has the right to vote and can run for political office again if he wants. Now, we asked Maziarz's Buffalo attorney, but he told us they didn't talk much about that. Al Vaughters, News 4.
2 people are dead after a shooting at Central Michigan University. Now police are looking for the suspect, 19-year-old James Davis Jr. They say the shooting happened at a dorm on campus. The 2 people who were killed were not students at the university. Police say the suspect is considered armed and dangerous. Campus police took Davis to a hospital last night because of a drug-related health problem. Police have not released the names of the victims. And today, the nation paid their final respects to the man known as America's pastor. The Reverend Billy Graham was laid to rest today. He died last week at the age of 99. Weijia Jiang tells us about the very emotional ceremony from the Preacher's Library in Charlotte, North Carolina.
The president and vice president arrived with their wives to pay final respects to the Reverend Billy Graham. During the funeral at his library in Charlotte, Graham's youngest daughter told a deeply personal story about facing her father after a failed marriage.
He wrapped his arms around me and he said, "Welcome home." There was no shame, there was no blame, there was no condemnation, just unconditional love.
Graham died last week at the age of 99. He was known as America's pastor, meeting with every president since Harry Truman.
Graham himself began planning his funeral a decade ago. A family spokesman framed it as the preacher's last crusade.
It was powerful, but it wasn't overpowering. It was warm and affectionate.
About 2,000 guests attended the service, which was live streamed to a larger audience. Graham's son Franklin delivered the eulogy.
My father's greatest longing has been granted. He's in the presence of God. But I
sincere.
The service included songs from gospel musicians who performed at Graham's speaking events around the country. After the ceremony, Graham was to be buried in a prayer garden in a pine casket next to his wife. Weijia Zhang, CBS News, Charlotte, North Carolina.
Next at 10, the new study scientists believe could be a breakthrough in the fight against Alzheimer's.
That's the number of free phones still available and the number of how many Americans can still get prescriptions free.
Free could be wonderful.
That's why I'm still working at 77 years old to pay off my prescriptions.
I needed to have a prescription filled and I had to leave because I couldn't afford it.
Call now and see what's available for you. Free prescriptions. Over 10 million people get prescriptions free, and the program has expanded so another 40 million can. Free dental. Over 15,000 dentists have provided over $330 million in free dental work. Free cell phones. 40 million free cell phones are still available with free minutes and more.
Free cell phone would change my life right now because it is something I cannot afford to get.
Medical supplies like back braces, knee braces, and diabetic supplies may be covered too. The free RX Plus hotline has saved callers over $12 million on their prescription costs. These free programs are now available to 40 million more people. Call now.
It's a very good feeling to see the kids come in all excited.
The audience was very excited and they would applaud very, very loud.
My family comes and they feel like they're in for a treat.
I like the loud parts because it gets me pumping.
There's something really special when you see the parents in the audience relating and seeing their children perform. It warms your heart.
I've seen them all. Big, small, wide, slim. Which is why at Men's Warehouse, we create the perfect fit. Now through Sunday, it's buy one, get one free on select items, plus take an additional 40% off clearance. It's time to like the way you look.
For your health tonight, a new study is suggesting using brain cells created from stem cells that could help prevent Alzheimer's. Researchers developed an experimental compound that reduced the production of toxic proteins that attack and kill brain cells, causing dementia. And people with a certain type of hearing loss may be able to more likely to experience memory loss as well. A new medical study followed 1,600 people, and those with age-related hearing loss caused by the brain's inability to process sound were twice as likely to have short-term memory loss. Well, still to come, we're taking a look at a couple pushing the limits when it comes to exploring nature. A look at National Geographic's Adventurers of the Year.
The greatest fish catchers in the wilderness, using only their claws. Human beings are now copying the grizzlies' fishing methods in order to satisfy their fresh fish craving. The problem is grizzlies do not like to share their fish with anyone. The solution is, of course, Mighty Taco, which for a limited time serves their incredibly delicious beer-battered fish taco in burritos with crispy lettuce, juicy tomatoes, all wrapped carefully in a soft white or wheat shell. Catch your Mighty Taco fish taco in our totally bear-free dining room. But hurry, fish taco's only around for a limited time, and only at Mighty Taco.
Are you happy with your bathroom? I wasn't, until I learned about Bathfitter. Bathfitter puts a new bathtub right over your old one. Isn't that amazing? Bathfitter will measure, custom make, and install right over your existing tub. And only Bathfitter has seamless walls, which guarantees a watertight fit. Plus, they do it all in just one day. I know because I did it.
Take advantage of winter savings. Call Bathfitter now and get 20% off or 48 months, no interest.
Life is beautiful at Greenfield Manor in Lancaster. Designed especially for independent retirement living, you'll enjoy fully equipped 1- and 2-bedroom apartments, chef-prepared meals, entertainment, church services, and more, with no entrance fee and none of the stressful chores of homeownership. So keep your independence and enjoy life again, because life is beautiful at Greenfield Manor. Visit us today to learn more.
The doors of Transit Hill Pharmacy have welcomed people for over 60 years. Hi, I'm Jim Walsh, manager, pharmacist at Transit Hill Pharmacy. Come on in and discover the safer, easier way to take your medication. We offer many vaccinations all year long to keep you and your loved ones healthy. And we can help with all your veterinary needs. So stop in soon and let us protect your health and that of your loved ones.
The William & Tarr Law Firm is very compassionate.
Everything just went so fast and so smoothly.
The attorneys at William & Tarr were just amazing. You know, if you're hurt in a car, call William & Tarr.
I was in good hands. They assured me that I had nothing to worry about. It took the pressure.
For your money tonight, taking a stand on the gun debate will apparently cost Delta Airlines millions of dollars. Pro-gun lawmakers in Georgia approved a tax bill that strips a tax break that would have benefited the Atlanta-based airliner's bottom line. It comes after Delta announced last weekend it was ending discounted tickets to members of the NRA. Well, many seniors are receiving mailers in the mail that are telling them it's an urgent matter regarding their homes. Officials say investment companies are trying to buy very valuable real estate under market value. Kenneth Craig has more on this.
Over 60 years. Most of these people lived here over 60 years.
Shirley Riven Smith's neighborhood is filled with memories and expensive real estate. Home values in this part of Washington, D.C. have skyrocketed over the past decade.
I am sure probably most homes here, $650,000 to $1 million.
Smith and other elderly residents recently started receiving these mailers titled Final Notice. They say, I have an important message regarding your property, and I've done all I can to get a hold of you, and this is my last resort.
Final Notice, and here we got ASAP.
Cleveland Leggett's mailbox has been flooded with the flyers, which urge homeowners to call immediately.
Final Notice give me the impression it's a threat or something's going to happen.
Leggett didn't call the number, but we did, and discovered the flyers come from a real estate business called Ace Equity Pros. D.C. City Council member Kenyon McDuffie says investment companies are pressuring seniors in his area to sell their homes.
In many cases, they're trying to play them below market, and they're trying to pay them in cash to create the sense of urgency.
Ace Equity Pros declined an on-camera interview and wouldn't provide a statement. But over the phone, they told us their goal is to make a profit, and to do that, they buy homes under market value. They insisted they are not predatory, and because of the complaints, they have stopped mailing the flyers. Ace isn't the only company that's used these tactics. The AARP says seniors across the country have reported getting flyers with similar language.
Final Notice.
McDuffie has introduced a bill to ban them.
It would make it unlawful for businesses to engage in those sorts of trade practices.
He's hoping other communities around the country do the same to protect people's property. Kenneth Craig, CBS News, Washington.
Overseas, the snowstorm, dubbed the Beast from the East, has people in England on edge, but one Olympian is welcoming the snow in stride. You can take a look at Olympic bronze medalist Billy Morgan as he takes his talents through the streets of Essex, England. And he's not alone. His buddy and professional skier, Paddy Graham, came along as well. The 28-year-old snowboarder was freestyling on handrails and the footbridges today. Over the past few days, the Beast from the East has dumped up to 15 inches of snow in some areas, and that's where it's at its peak. Well, you're about to meet the adventurers of the year, chosen by National Geographic. It's a couple bent on capturing the environment and saving it. Carter Evans met them in a rare moment when they were not traveling around the world.
All of these riches right in your backyard.
Yeah. If this is Paul Nicklin and Christina Mittermeier's backyard, their front yard is the rest of the planet.
I think this year we've been home less than 2 months because we work together. Home is wherever we are.
I think there was a song about that.
From pole to pole and just about every place in between, Nicklin and Mittermeier have used their cameras to give nature a face. All of their photographs are taken to serve the same three goals.
Art, science, and conservation. It's got to be beautiful, it's got to teach you something, and it's got to make you care.
Those three elements came together in heart-wrenching fashion this past December when the couple released this video of a starving polar bear on social media. It was viewed more than 30 million times.
At some point, you have to slap people in the face and just say, this is what's happening. This is what climate change looks like.
Along with the serious intent that drives their work, their photographic expeditions are filled with inspiring encounters.
It's one of my favorite things on this planet to do is to swim with leopard seals.
You see you facing the jaws of this beast.
She's just letting you know that this is her territory, you know, and if you want to be here, you're going to play by her rules.
She kept bringing you penguins?
Realizing that I couldn't catch a live penguin, she started to bring me tired penguins, exhausted penguins.
She's trying to feed you.
She's trying to feed me penguins and take care of me.
While Paul specializes in wildlife at the frozen ends of the earth, Christina captures the lives of indigenous people all over the world.
For me, the kinds of photographs that we aim to produce are the ones that become iconic symbols for something larger than just the moment that they capture.
For Paul and Christina, that perspective makes life richer and makes the job worth every moment.
It's failing 98% of the time, being miserable most of the time, and being patient, believing in yourself, believing in the process, and chasing that story.
Carter Evans, CBS News, Vancouver Island, British Columbia.
And straight ahead in sports, looking ahead to the NCAA tournament. Highlights from the Canisius Quinnipiac game next.
Strong move down low for Lutz, plus the foul.
A sirloin steak and big ribs. You want to up him with the steak, but add a steak. Figuring steak and steak trumps ribs and steak. But does it?
15 combinations, steak, ribs, shrimp, and more. 2 meats, 2 sides, $14.99.
Make time to escape to the coast and enjoy 60 miles of beautiful beaches and let the sound of the ocean's tide take you to your happy place. Now's the perfect time to book your spring getaway to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Besides, you deserve it. Seize your moment now and come, let go, and unwind on Myrtle Beach Time.
Let go and unwind on Myrtle Beach Time.
Think you can beat our brackets? Go ahead and give it a shot. Go to WIV.
Well, there have been plenty of whispers about the Bills trading up in this year's draft for a quarterback, and it could be for Heisman Trophy winner Baker Mayfield. Sports Director Josh Reed reports from the Combine.
Quarterbacks took center stage today. I know a lot of Bills fans out there that would like to see the team trade up in the first round of the draft, maybe find their franchise quarterback. Could that be Oklahoma's Baker Mayfield? Well, he had plenty to say today at the podium. There might not be a player in the draft that's more polarizing. Here's a listen to the best of Baker Mayfield.
First things first, you know, whatever team I go to, I'm not going to settle for a backup job. I've never been like that, and I never will. I'm going to push that person in front of me. When it comes down to it, the best man's going to win. Height doesn't matter. You see guys like Tyrod Taylor, Breeze, Russell Wilson. They've proven that it doesn't matter. If you want to say anything else, I got 3 years of tape you can watch. What makes me the best option? I think it's a few things. I think accuracy. I can make any throw. Winning is the most important, but the way I've been able to get my guys around me to play, I'm the most accurate quarterback in this draft by far. The biggest thing, you know, is showing that I'm ready from day one to be a franchise guy. I don't think I'm cocky. It's not cocky. It's just confident. the great ones have a competitive edge. You look at Tom Brady, you look at Rodgers, you look at Phillip Rivers too. I mean, those guys, they have that edge. Teams ask about my character. You know, until you sit down and talk to me directly, you might have an image that is, you know, portrayed within stories or headlines. But I love the game. I'm upfront and honest. I let them know exactly what I'm about.
I can tell you this, that Mayfield told the reporters that he did meet with the Bills here in Indianapolis. There are a few players that are more polarizing than Baker Mayfield. One national reporter next to me said, man, is he cocky. The other one on the other side said to me, I kind of like everything that he's about. I guess we'll see. In Indianapolis, Josh Reed, News 4 Sports.
The UB men wrapped up their regular season schedule tonight with a 100-70 win over Bowling Green. Now the top-seeded Bulls have off until the MAC tournament begins for them on Thursday. As for the Metro Atlantic, their tournament is underway. Today the conference announced Niagara's Khalil Dukes and Jermaine Crumpton as co-players of the year. And the Griffs opening up play against Quinnipiac, and there's the Niagara Falls native Crumpton. But first, it's the MAC's Rookie of the Year to call Molson. Strong move puts the Griffs up 4. Then before the half, Crumpton, the soft touch. The Griffs go up 6 at the half. Right now in this one, good game. They lead by 8 with 13 minutes to go. We finish with the Sabres on the road against the Panthers. Kyle Laposo back in the lineup. He just had a baby. Down 1-0 in the first. Ryan O'Reilly to Sam Reinhart. Pretty touch there. Ties it up at 1, but it was all downhill from there. Down, the Panthers scored 3 unanswered on Robin Leonard to build a 4-1 lead. They win by that count. The Sabres host the Leafs on Monday.
Going to be a long flight home for the Sabres.
Yes.
Indeed. Thank
Looking
you, Shannon.
forward to the arrival, yeah.
And thank you for watching News 410. You can join all of us next on Channel 4 for News 4 at 11. Have a tremendous weekend, everyone, and stay warm.